Hey YouTube, this is On the Purple One, and welcome to Boots on the Ground. We're back with Boots on the Ground. Let me get started into it. This is from a news article. On the Chinese coast, 135 miles from Taiwan, Beijing is preparing to start a new reactor. The Pentagon sees this as a vast expansion of the China's nuclear arsenal, potentially making an atomic peer of the United States and Russia. The reactor, known as a fast breeder, excels at making plutonium a top fuel of atom bombs. The nuclear material for the reactor is being supplied by Russia, and it has completed a delivery of 25 tons of highly enriched uranium to get production started. That deal means that Russia and China are now cooperating on a project that will aid their own nuclear modernization, and by the Pentagon's estimate, produce enough that they will dwarf the United States atomic size of our nuclear weapons. This is a problem. A lot of our systems are getting old. A lot of our weapon systems have been sitting for decades. Are they going to work? A lot of questions. Also, a lot of news articles about Taiwan, the actual civilians of Taiwan getting ready. They're in training for civil defense, which I think this is great, just to have them prepared. So instead of worrying, they can be an active participation of trying to help people and find shelters and medical. So I got a report from Raleigh, North Carolina, and this was at 4 a.m. on Thursday. I saw a line of about 10 bright orange fireballs in a row moving across the sky in unison at the pace of an airplane. There's something going on out there, and it's being kept secret by the government and the media. I also got some money from the bank, and this is normally a $100 bill. You all know that. This is the $100 bill I got, and as you can see, this was 1950. So my question is, are they dipping into old money to keep up with the flow of people withdrawing money? But I'm going to save this one. I'm definitely not going to spend it. It's 1950, but the coolest thing on here, I will read it to you. I'll read the current one that we have. This note is legal tender for all debts, public and private. This one says, this note is legal tender for all debts, public and private, and redeemable in lawful money at the United States Treasury or at any Federal Reserve Bank. Let me read that again. This note is legal tender for all debts, public and private, and is redeemable in lawful money at the United States Treasury or at any Federal Reserve Bank. That just sums it all up. No value at all, and right now this has no value because they won't redeem it in what's lawful money, and that'd be something backed by gold and silver. But that was just show you how far we have fallen. Soon I will go out on a limb and predict, I don't know the time period, but this will be used for toilet paper, or this will be used to start a fire to keep you warm. It will have no value other than those two uses. I'm going to cover some major announcements in the last few months, and I'll go back all the way to the January 1st or near January 1st, and these are layoffs. I'm getting a lot of people talking to me about their jobs, individual jobs. Some work for small companies, medium companies, large companies, and everyone is saying that contact me, they're worried about their job. There's no overtime anymore for some of them, and actually they've been offered days off of work. You know, no deduction from their vacation days, but you won't get paid for it. Free time off. Some of them say people are taking it and excited about it. I would not be excited about getting a day off of work and not getting paid. Let me go over a bunch of layoffs, and I'm going to go quick. There's so many, I'm not going to dwell on them. Deloitte will cut 1,200 jobs. Whole Foods cutting several hundred corporate workers. Meta, they have announced major cuts, and since November they have cut 21,000. Let that sink in. 21,000, that's a lot of people. Open Door cut 560. Ernest Young cut 3,000. David Bridal laid off 9,236. Best Buy laying off lots of people, hundreds of employees. Redfin cut 200 employees. Walmart made some major cuts. They made 2,000 employees at 5 plants. McDonald's, They cut hundreds of employees in a restructuring plan, and this was mostly corporate people. Highland Software cut 1,000. Virgin Orbit cutting 675. Roku 200. Electronic Art 6% of its workforce. Warner Music Groups cutting 270. Lucid Groups, that's an electric car maker, cutting 7,200 employees. Disney has cut 7,000. Bed Bath & Beyond, 1,300. Indeed, cutting 2,200. Glassdoor, cutting about 140 people. Marvel Technology, 320. Amazon, cutting about 18,000, and that's been an ongoing effort since January. A marketing e-commerce slashing 140. Tyson Food laying off 1,660. Lockheed Martin cutting 176. Hunter Douglas laying off 361. Adelson cutting 500. The satellite radio company cutting 475. Citigroup's cutting 1% of their workforce. ThoughtWorks cutting 4% of their workforce. Waymo cutting 8% of their workforce. General Motors is cutting hundreds of employees. Twitter starting laying off over 200 people. Cerebral, a mental health startup company, cutting 15% or 285 workers. Palantir Technology, they're cutting 76 people. Ericsson, they're cutting 8% of their workforce, 8,500 people. NPR cutting hundreds of people. McKinsey cutting 4%. DocSign is cutting 740 people. KPMG cutting 2% of their staff, roughly 700 people. Twilio cutting 1,500 people. News Corp cutting 1,250 people. Yahoo plans to cut up to 1,000. Well, actually 1,600. Nomad Health is cutting 120 people. GitHub cutting 300 people. eBay announced actually 500 people. The Zoom, they're cutting up to 1,300 people. Secure Works, they're cutting 225. Boeing has actually confirmed some cuts, 2,000. Dell Technology cutting 6,650. Okta cutting 300. NetApp, they're cutting 960. DraftKings cutting 140. FedEx has announced some major cuts. Rivian Automotive will cut 6% of their workforce. PayPal announced 2,000 full-time positions gone. HarperCollins, it announced about 4,000 worldwide cuts. HubSpot, 7% of their. Philips cutting 3,000. Hasbro cutting 1,000 full-time workers. Dow announced it will cut 2,000. IBM says it's slashing 1.5 of its global workforce. You have SAP laying off 3,000. Groupon 500. Vasica 1,300. 3M 2,500 globally. Gemini cutting 10% of its workforce. Spotify cutting 600. Google parent Alphabet cutting 12,000 jobs worldwide. Wayfair 1,750. Capital One 1,100. Microsoft is cutting 10,000. Amazon made some cuts of 18,000 since the beginning of the year. Teladoc Health cutting 6% of their force. Lending Club cutting 225. This list goes on and on. Crypto, DirecTV, BlackRock, Flexport, Coinbase, Goldman Sachs, Stitch, Genesis Trading, Salesforce, Venmo, just on and on of cuts. I don't want to scare you, but I want to make sure you know your job is not secure no matter what you do, because as more and more big companies cut, it does affect your job because people are buying less. And I got one sent to me. This is from today. Under armed security, 125 workers were laid off at the Dart Container Company. I was retained, but had to move to a different shift and a different job on that shift. And they make containers, small containers. They make the Solo Cup, the American world famous red Solo Cup. So things are not looking good. So what I want you to know is maybe in your job, you should start looking for a side hustle. A side hustle, something to make some money. It might be, hey, I might go out and cut 3 or 4 lawns in my neighborhood just to have another avenue of bringing in some cash. So I don't want to scare you, but the economy is not getting better. And every day Biden or his mouthpieces say, oh, the economy is great, I'm creating all these jobs. He's not creating jobs. I've also talked to people that say, I'm in my 50s. I'm sending out tons and tons of resumes. I might get a couple people to contact me back, but I do not get any interviews. So I don't know. Maybe the jobs that are available are low-paying jobs at McDonald's or Home Depot, but better-paying jobs that you need to raise a family. Are they there? I don't know. I'm not actively out there looking for them, but people are telling me, they're having a hard time finding a good-paying job to support their family. I hope this helps, gives you some motivation to work hard. Get out of debt is probably the biggest thing you can do. Thanks for watching.